For most of my life, I was chasing happiness, not in an obvious, embarrassing way, in the quiet background way that most people do it. Every decision filtered through one question: will this make me happy? Every goal, every relationship, every choice about how to spend my time: will this make me happy? And I genuinely believed that was the right way to live. That happiness was the destination, and if I could just get the right combination of things in place, the right work, the right people, the right circumstances, I would arrive there and stay. And then one day, after years of chasing it, I stopped. Not because I gave up, because I finally understood something that changed everything. Happiness is not a destination. It is not something you arrive at and keep. And spending your life trying to feel it constantly is one of the most reliable ways to make sure you never do. I know that sounds backwards. I know you have been told your whole life to pursue happiness, that it is the point, that if you are not happy, something is wrong and you need to fix it. But I want you to sit with something for a minute. Think about the happiest sustained periods of your life. Not a single moment of joy, a stretch of time where you genuinely felt alive and engaged and like things meant something. I would bet almost every one of those periods had one thing in common. You were deeply absorbed in something, building something, working towards something, struggling with something that mattered to you. The happiness was not the goal in those moments. It was the byproduct. It arrived without you chasing it because you were too busy being fully in something to notice whether you were happy or not. That is the thing about happiness that nobody tells you clearly enough. It almost never comes when you go looking for it directly. It comes sideways. It sneaks in through the back door while you are focused on something else entirely. The people who seem most genuinely alive, most consistently at peace with their lives, most lit up by their existence. They are almost never the people who made happiness their primary goal. They are the people who made meaning their primary goal, who decided what they were going to build and what they were going to stand for, and then went after that with everything they had. And happiness came along for the ride. Not every day, not constantly, but in a deep, sustained way that feels nothing like the shallow version. Here is what chasing happiness actually does to you. When happiness is your goal, every moment that is not happy becomes a problem to solve. You start treating normal human emotions, sadness, frustration, boredom, discomfort, uncertainty, as failures, as evidence that something is wrong with your life or wrong with you. So you spend enormous energy trying to escape those feelings, numb them, fix them, optimize them away. And in doing all of that, you stop being present for your actual life. You are always somewhere else mentally, always trying to get to the feeling you want or away from the feeling you have, always managing your emotional state instead of living your life. And the cruel irony is that all of that management, all of that chasing, it makes you more anxious, more dissatisfied, more aware of the gap between how you feel and how you think you should feel. The pursuit of happiness, when it becomes your primary operating system, is one of the main things that makes people miserable. I stopped chasing happiness the day I asked myself a different question. Instead of what will make me happy, I started asking, what am I here to build? What is the work that feels like mine? What kind of person do I want to have been when I look back on this time? Those questions do not have comfortable answers. They pull you toward hard things, toward commitment and sacrifice and showing up even when you do not feel like it. But they also pull you toward something real, something that exists outside of your emotional state on any given day. And when you are moving towards something real, something that matters to you beyond how it makes you feel, you discover something unexpected. You feel more. Not more happy exactly, more alive, more engaged, more like your existence has weight and direction. And that feeling is deeper and more sustaining than anything the happiness chase ever produced. Think about the people you know who seem genuinely content, not the ones who perform contentment on social media, the real ones, the ones who have something calm and solid about them, who are not constantly looking for the next thing to fix how they feel. Almost without exception, those people have something they are committed to that is bigger than their own comfort, a craft they have been working for years, a family they are genuinely present for, a mission or a community or a problem they have decided is worth their life. They are not content because their life is easy or because they have figured out how to feel good all the time. They are content because they know what they are doing and why. And that knowledge, that sense of direction and purpose, produces something that feels better than happiness. It produces peace. I want to be honest about what this shift actually requires, because I am not going to pretend it is easy. When you stop making happiness your goal, you have to be willing to feel things you have been avoiding. The discomfort of doing hard work, the uncertainty of not knowing if what you are building will work out, the grief of choosing one path and closing others, the loneliness of being committed to something most people around you do not understand. None of those feelings are fun, but they are real. And real feelings, even uncomfortable ones, are infinitely better than the numb, anxious loop of constantly chasing a feeling that keeps moving away from you every time you get close. You also have to give up the comparison game. Because happiness chasing and comparison are deeply connected. When happiness is your goal, you're constantly scanning your environment to benchmark how you're doing, looking at other people's lives and asking whether they seem happier than you and what they have that you do not. And social media makes this catastrophically worse because it gives you an endless stream of curated happiness to compare your unfiltered experience to. When you shift from chasing happiness to pursuing meaning, the comparison loses most of its power. Because meaning is personal. What is meaningful to you is not what is meaningful to someone else. You cannot look at another person's life and determine whether yours is on track. You can only look at whether you are moving toward what matters to you. And that is a much more stable and honest way to measure a life. So what does this actually look like in practice? Because I do not want to leave you with a philosophy that sounds good and goes nowhere. It starts with one honest question that most people never actually sit down and answer seriously. What would I build with my life if I was not trying to feel a certain way? If I was not optimizing for comfort, for approval, for security, for the good feeling of having made the safe choice? What would I actually do? What would I create? What would I give myself to? Sit with that question. Do not rush it. Do not answer it with what sounds impressive or what other people would approve of. Answer it with what is actually true for you when you get quiet enough to hear yourself think. And then start moving toward that answer. Not when you feel ready, not when you feel happy enough or confident enough or certain enough. Now, in whatever small, imperfect way is available to you right now. Because meaning does not wait for the right emotional state to begin. It is built through action, taken even when the feeling is not there, especially when the feeling is not there. The day I stopped trying to be happy was the day I started actually living. Not because my life became easy or because I stopped feeling hard things. Because I finally had something real to move toward. That thing existed outside of how I happened to feel on any given morning. And in moving toward it, I found something better. Not happiness exactly, something better. A life that felt like mine. That is what I want for you. Stop chasing the feeling. Start building the thing. The rest takes care of itself. Let me say something about the people who will push back on this. Who will say that happiness is important. They say they should not have to suffer for meaning and that life should feel good. I agree with all of that. I am not telling you to be miserable. I'm not telling you that suffering is noble or that joy is to be avoided. I am telling you that there is a profound difference between joy that arrives as a byproduct and happiness frantically chased as a goal. One is deep and sustaining and makes the hard parts bearable. The other is shallow and exhausting and makes even the good parts feel insufficient. You are allowed to want to feel good, but feeling good is not the goal, it is the reward. And it comes most reliably to the people who stopped making it the point and started making something else the point instead. Your craft, your relationships, your contribution, your growth, the thing that is yours to build in the time you have. Make that the goal. Feel everything that comes along the way. The joy and the grief and the frustration and the pride. Stop trying to manage your emotional state and start trying to live your actual life. That is the shift. Small in concept, enormous in practice, and completely available to you starting right now from exactly where you are. You do not need different circumstances. You do not need to feel better first. You just need a different question. Not what will make me happy. What am I here to build? Answer that honestly. Then go build it. Everything else follows. And I want to close with something personal because I think it matters more than anything else I have said. There was a version of me that spent years feeling like something was missing. Not dramatically, just that quiet, persistent feeling that I should be more grateful, more content, more at peace with my life. And the more I chased that feeling, the more it stayed out of reach. The moment things started to genuinely shift was when I stopped asking life to make me feel a certain way and started asking what I was going to give, what I was going to build, what I was going to stand for. That shift from taking to giving, from consuming to creating. That is where the aliveness came from. And it has never fully left since. Not because every day is good, some days are genuinely hard, but because even on the hard days there is a direction, a reason, a thing being built that is worth the difficulty. That is what I want for you. Not happiness as a feeling, aliveness as a way of being. Go find your direction. Go build your thing. That is the whole answer. It always was.